Hi guys, this is Megan Ford and I am presenting task 3 for edit 6150. So for this task, I chose mobile learning. I think there are a lot of great tools out there for us to use in our classrooms in education, and I find that mobile learning is really a great tool to create our lifelong learners. They're able to be self-directed, they can engage, they get to interact and collaborate with other learners. So for my mobile learning, I chose the app Shadow Puppet. So I downloaded this on my iPad and used it on my iPad, but I could see it used very easily on the iPhone as well. I just kind of like the bigger screen. So let me talk about what Shadow Puppet is. So it's a movie maker and a content creator. It essentially is an app where you can go in and create your own presentations. It's really easy. You just upload pictures through the app and you narrate it, add text, things like that. And when you're done, it creates a presentation that you can email to yourself. You can upload it to YouTube and share with others. You can also upload it to Seesaw, which I thought was really cool. I know we talked about that in class last week, and I played with Seesaw for our task 2. I think it'd be really great to be able to upload some of these presentations as a teacher and use that as a way to communicate with your parents and students. You could create updated class news, you could create lectures on there, all types of things. So I found some really cool features and functions on Shadow Puppet. Your introduction screen looks like this. You'll see a couple of presentations I created. They have some sample presentations that are really good right there. All you have to do when you get there is click the giant Create New button, and it's going to take you to a screen that essentially shows you several pictures. On this screen, it uploads your camera roll. I will say that for some reason it wouldn't download a bunch of my pictures on the camera roll. I think it blocks out pictures with faces so that those can't be included in presentations. You also have the availability of several Creative Commons here. You can do a map search through Google Map Search. You can look for famous landmarks. I really liked that you could essentially do a search in Library of Congress, British Library, NASA, and pick out images through there based upon what you had. It also has a text and voice recording feature. So you can see here I'm typing the text. There are a few fonts to choose from, and you have a few options. When you hit the voice recording tool, it just uses the mic on your iPhone or your iPad to record. There are also a few recording features. They have some emojis, some pointers, and they have like this kind of circular fade in and fade out dot that you can use to highlight things. One of the most awesome things I found on Shadow Puppet were activity ideas. So they have lesson ideas for student content creation, and a lot of them require critical thinking, which I thought was great. There are 4 different pages of assignments in here. So let's talk about how it enhances those 4 C's, how it enhances learning. So the biggest 3 that I thought Shadow Puppet really focused on were creativity, communication, and critical thinking. So I read a few articles. Sorry, I'll show you the citation down here. So the first one I read was what the 21st Century Initiative is all about. And this really focuses on what 21st century learners are. One of the biggest takeaways was the way that our brains work and the way we learn now. Our brains work best when we're building on what we already know, when we're making those connections. And it's through those connections that we get a more complex understanding and significance. And it's also important for our older students, our adolescents, to take risks and question the world around them. Shadow Puppet really allows students to engage the content and take these risks, which I thought was kind of fun. You're allowed to essentially make mistakes, go back and fix them. Students can really connect the content to what they already know and explain it in a way that makes sense to them. The next article I read was the Edwards article on Your Employees Are Increasingly Mobile, Are You? I thought this was a really great article that would be awesome to use for professional development. So the biggest things are, as we become mobile, we want to connect while we're on the move. We want information in our own time and our own setting. So how do we do that? Well, essentially, we need to produce content on multiple devices for what the learner needs right then. And the content needs to be easily published and available. You're going to have users that can participate and collaborate no matter where your experts are. For professional development, I could really see Shadow Puppet being great because you can make resources available on the internet through YouTube for when teachers want them, and it allows for a more flexible learning setting. I know both teachers and students aren't always going to absorb the content at one particular time, so this allows them to access resources in their own time and in their own setting, and that's really going to increase your communication tool because teachers are allowed to get the communication they need when they need it. And because you can have experts collaborating, you have the ability for certain teacher and student experts to create movies in Shadow Puppet and share and collaborate and expand upon the information they know and help others learn different things. So the next article I read was the Sharps and Valvula article in 2005, Towards a Theory of Mobile Learning. So I really found this statistic interesting, so I created a graph for it. 51% of adults have learning either take place at home or the office, and another 21% have it take place in a workplace outside the office. So we can tell that people aren't necessarily learning in the traditional learning environment. So again, as Edwards kind of stated, we want learning in our own place, in our own time. And because of this, Shadow Puppet really allows that to take place because you're able to share that information as needed. So how do we create an impromptu learning environment that can occur anywhere? People are collaborating and sharing knowledge. We know that people are out there creating blogs, posting on Wikipedia. So with Shadow Puppet, people are able to share their knowledge and communicate that knowledge by creating presentations. Then these presentations can be posted by students to share knowledge with others and collaborate through that. They're able to communicate with each other as well, and they're able to communicate the information in a way that might suit them best. So the last article I read was on using emergent technologies for facilitating and engaging in learning environments. And we need to think of mobile technology as flexible. It's going to increase motivation and it's going to require interaction. So examples of Shadow Puppet in the classroom. You'll see here the two I created. This is one that I created that maybe a teacher would use, or teacher would create. It's the Battle of Kennesaw, and I was able to take things from the Library of Congress and create a tool for that. And then I've been really interested in the Juno mission, and under that ideas column, they had a newspaper or a current issues assignment. For theirs, they really suggested some creative thinking where students took an article in a foreign language and then posted it on to Shadow Puppet and interpreted it. And so there you would see essentially that creative thinking and communication piece. This is an example of a digital story available on the app. This is one of their samples, but I thought it was really interesting because, again, students are thinking creatively. They're communicating to their teacher about themselves and other students. They're sharing and collaborating their story. Last but not least, here are some of the limitations. While students may be collaborating and communicating with others through sharing their information, you really couldn't collaborate in a group setting. Other limitations were that there aren't a whole lot of features, so older students may find that they want to be more creative, they want to think more outside the box and add things that maybe you wouldn't have in Shadow Puppet. Last but not least, I found that the features are really clunky and lacking. When you get to recording, there aren't a lot of options for things that you can do on the screen. I really wish there was a drawing tool or a way to insert more information.